Hello again, everyone. Our one of our next major grammar topics is going to be the comparative and superlative forms of the adjectives. You probably have heard the word compare something, two things, two pictures, for example, compare and contrast them, talk about which one is, I don't know, bigger, the other one is smaller, right? That's where the name of comparative form of the adjective comes from. Okay, and the superlative, that three forms of the adjectives. Obviously, just like in Hungarian, you have strong, stronger, and strongest. The strongest of all, right? More, most. There are a few irregular forms that you most likely have seen already, like better and best, right? Something is very good, English is good, but maybe some other subjects are better than English. You know, biology is better than English, or physics is the best, my most favorite. Okay. Also, the same thing with the bad. Bad is also irregular. Something is A is better than B, then B is worse than A. Worse and the worst. And then you go far away, or you could go even further away, or some travelers get to the furthest in the world. What you need to realize is more and most is both the comparative and superlative of many and much. So regardless it's a countable or non-countable adjective noun that the adjective comes to. Okay, so the good news is, because the bad news was you had to learn about many apples and much juice, many books and much coffee, right? In case of comparative and superlative, it's just the same: more coffee, more juice, and more books, more apples. The most apples, the most coffee. Okay, so there's no difference between count and non-count nouns that the adjective comes from, to refers to. Same thing with less and least, which is the opposite of more and most. Okay, if I have more apples than you have less apples than I have. I have more coffee than you have less coffee. And the least, note the pronunciation, right? There's difference, less and least. Even if the little means it refers to a non-count coffee or juice, a little juice, right? Okay, if it is about size, how big or not so big something is, okay, then instead of little, we use small, and we just use the three forms of small: comparative and superlative of small. Okay, there's a small book, but there's a little book, if you like. That's good, but that book is smaller than this book, even smaller. Okay, so these are most important irregulars. There are a few more, but they might not be so important to us. Sometimes you use elder for a comparative of old. That's more traditional way of saying someone. I introduced my elder brother. Okay, so elder sister, the eldest family member, but we don't always use them. These are 1, 2, 3, 6 irregulars that we have to learn anyways. Okay, most of the case, these are quite regular. There are only two basic rules that should apply. One of them is a group of adjectives that get an ER and the EST ending. At the end of the word, you get an ER or EST, more or less the same way. There are some further spelling rules I'm coming back to, like bigger doubles the G, but ER and EST is one of the groups, of the two groups of comparatives and superlatives. The other group is the more and the most tags, right? They get the tags before them. So beautiful will be more beautiful and most beautiful. Expensive, more expensive, most expensive, and so on. So if you look at these two groups of adjectives, there are many more, right? And you try to make them comparative and superlative form. Soft, softer, softest, hard, harder, hardest, big, bigger, biggest, small, smaller, smallest, nice, nicer, nicest, tall, taller, tallest, cheap, cheaper, cheapest, and so on. The other group is more beautiful, the most beautiful, powerful, more powerful, the most powerful. You would probably guess easily that a very obvious reason why they use the two different comparatives and superlatives is these ones on the left side are much shorter. They have only one syllable, one beat, right? Soft, hard. These ones on the right side are longer words, right? On the left side, there are shorter words. On the right side, there are longer words. They have at least 3 syllables, 3 beats. Beautiful, powerful. Some of them are even longer. Intelligent. So these are the easiest way. This is the easiest way to find out which comparative and superlative forms to use. You would probably ask, okay, how about the 2-syllable comparisons, 2-syllable adjectives in comparative and superlative? There is one very important rule. If they have a Y ending, they are always using the ER and EST ending. So happy will be happier and the happiest. Ugly, uglier, ugliest. Fancy, fancier, fanciest. Angry, angrier, the angriest. Okay. In most of other cases, the adjectives have 2 syllables because of an ending they got beforehand. Okay, they had the basic form, another word, a noun or verb, and they have got a derivational ending that made them an adjective. Okay, to bore someone is a verb. West might be a noun. To scare somebody is a verb. Peace is a noun. Okay, please can be a verb. and so on. So, and they became adjectives because of an ending, right? They're boring, Western, get scared, peaceful, careful, pleasant, crowded. Scared is not even two-syllable an adjective, but that doesn't matter, right? More scared, most scared, more crowded, most crowded because of the ending they already got. These words don't want to have two endings. Peace becomes peacefuler. That should mean there are two endings already, full and Doesn't make sense. Please became pleasant because of the and ending. It doesn't want one more ending there, so that's why we just use more and the most instead. One of my favorite exceptional cases is the colors. Usually the books don't mention colors so much, but to my understanding, there is not such a thing as something is green, the other thing is even greener. A color can be brighter or darker or stronger, I don't know, softer perhaps, lighter, okay? But there's no green and even greener. If you still have to say something that silly, then you just use the most tag, the most green, the most red, the more white. This thing is whiter. This thing is even more white than the other. But that's just my additional case. Okay, this is not in the book even. As for the spelling rule, I said we come back to the spelling. When you have an ER and EST ending, some further spelling rules apply. In the case of most of them, it's just you just add an ER and EST, and it seems like the most regular, even more irregular the other ones. Okay, there are no further rules to the spelling. It's just ER and EST, and that's end of the story. Warm, warmer, warmest, long, longer, longest, strong, stronger, strongest, soft, softer, softest, weak, weaker, weakest. There is an important rule to those adjectives that have only a short vowel like e, o, I, and a, and o, okay? And then the word ends with one consonant letter, T or G or B or, okay? L, there's only one consonant, T, there before after the short E sound. E, O, I, A. Can you see that? Wet, hot, big, fat. To make them stay short, don't become long, to avoid them become a long vowel, we just double the consonant letter. In case of warm and soft, there are already two consonant letters, so it's an easy case. In case of wet, hot, big, and fat, not to allow them to become weeder, hotter, bigger, and fatter. That wouldn't make any sense. You just double the consonant letter, and that's that closes down their vowel. They stay short, wet, wetter, wettest, hot, hotter, hottest, big, bigger, biggest, fat, fatter, fattest. As for those adjectives that have a long consonant, like nice, it's usually a case of one consonant letter, and then a silent E at the end. For the silent E, you just need to see that we don't add one more E at the end. So the ending is basically just an R and an ST, not an additional E and R or an additional E and ST. There's no one more E there, right? So it's like there's already an E at the end, so we don't need one more E. Nicer is NICER, one E. Also, the adjectives that end with a letter Y, even in cases of one syllable adjectives, if the Y is a vowel itself, it is pronounced I or E, not a Y, then the Y changes into IE, just like in other cases, like plural forms of nouns or third person singular of verbs. If they happen to end to an I, fly, the mosquito flies, right? That also becomes an IE. Now, the same case applies to adjectives. IER and IEST. These are basically obvious and easy rules. So they are still considered to be regular adjectives. Okay. Just to put them into sentences, how to actually use them, these forms of the adjectives. When we compare two things of the same height or age or size or whatever, okay, if they are the same, then we can say Joe is as old as Jack. Jack is as old as Joe. They are twins. They have the same age, exactly same age, right? Joe is just as old as Jack, then Jack is just as old as Joe. So we just put as twice between before and after the adjective. As old as. If Joe is not as old as Jack, we usually refer to something less so, right? If Joe is not quite as old as Jack, then the case is that Joe is less old, I would say, is younger than Jack, right? So if Joe isn't quite as old as Jack, then Jack is, it seems to be the case that Jack is older than Joe. If I don't have just quite as many apples than you have, then apples, then you have more apples than I have, right? That makes sense, kind of. And if Jack is older than everybody in the class, everyone else is younger than Jack. Jack is older than everyone or anyone else in the class, then Jack is the oldest. He is the oldest in the class. Okay, these are pretty obvious cases. If you think you can research on them further, but that should be enough to understand. If you do understand these, okay, then here is your homework assignment. I assign you with the homework of making 5 more sentences. Ta-da! Okay, think of your family members, your family, your dad and mom and sisters, brothers, uncles, grandmother. 5 sentences with your family members and comparatives and superlatives about them. Okay, who is, I don't know, nicest in the family, who is the oldest in the family, and so on. Okay, so just simply 5 sentences. You can make more if you like, but 5 should be enough to see you understand this. Okay, that's it for today, and I'll see you soon on online lectures. Goodbye.